Welcome to Take It Off, the podcast where we ditch the heavy layers and get real about who we truly are beneath it all. I'm Julie, and together with my co-host and friend Jess, we'll share our own stories and explore the triumphs and tribulations of being a woman in today's world. Let's get real, have some laughs, and inspire each other to embrace our true selves. Welcome to Take It Off. Welcome back to Take It Off. This is Julie, and I'm here with Jess.
Hi, guys.
Can you believe this is our 6th episode?
I have no clue how we got here,
but we did.
We did.
It started with hitting the record button all those weeks ago, and we just wanted to start this episode by giving a big, heartfelt thank you to everyone who has listened to 1 episode or 5 episodes, and thank you so much for just your generous feedback and suggestions for our next season, which, speaking of next seasons, we are going to take a break after this episode and come back to all of you in January. We are, as we talked about in a prior episode, trusting our intuition and can't wait to come back and share more with you after the new year. But before we go, we have one last topic that we think is really timely for this time of year, and that is energy. And I'm going to kick it over to Jess to talk to us about energy, what it is, and how we can prepare best and protect our energy going into this holiday and festive season.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I have no clue how it's mid-December by the time you guys are hearing this, and it's wild to me. So yeah, we thought that it would be really a really good time to talk about the energy that we're living in every day and the energy that we've been living in for the year, and just taking some time to really look at ourselves and look at our lives and figure out what we can do differently to show up how we want to show up next year a little bit better, right? So,
yeah.
Okay, so I want to, I guess, first start by saying, when we talk about energy, and Julie, I'd love to know, when you think of energy, right now, we're talking about energy. Is it are we talking about scientific energy? Are we talking about, woo energy?
Ooh.
What do you, what comes to mind if I'm just sitting here talking about the energy that we're bringing into this conversation?
Yeah. When I think of energy, the best way I can describe it is when I put my hands on a steering wheel in a car that is running, that feeling that you get where you can just feel the engine coursing through your hands. I feel like when I'm full of good energy, I almost can feel the energy going through my body, right? And then the opposite is true too. When I'm feeling stuck or blocked with my energy, it just feels heavy and stagnant. And that's how I would best describe energy. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I think that's a really good way to explain it. It's a feeling, definitely. It's, I view it sort of as the energy we're living in, the feelings that we're living in every day, what we're bringing to the table when we're interacting with other people. It's just a feeling. Is it a heavy feeling? Is it a light feeling? Is it, so we're going to get into all the high vibration, low vibration stuff.
Okay.
But I guess the idea is that energy is made up of our thoughts, our actions, and our emotions. And everything in the universe is made up of energy and matter. So everything has energy, where higher vibration or higher frequency vibrations have more energy and lower frequency vibrations have less energy. So that's probably why you can feel the difference between the higher vibe and the lower vibe energies is they physically feel different in your body. So I want to get into, I did find a little bit of fun research that I want to share before we dive in, because I think the yin and the yang that the two of us are, I think that it's so easy for me to get lost in the woo of all of the energy, but I really value the science behind it.
Yeah.
I know you do too.
Yes.
And I think for everybody who's, might be listening, that's like, oh my gosh, here we go with all that, the energy talk. There's really good like science behind it.
Yeah, so give us the science.
Yes. Okay, so let's go there. Okay, so I'm going to go through a couple of bullet points that I have here. I'm not going to claim to know all of the science of it in and out because I do live my life very intuitively, but this always helps keep me grounded. So, if you're looking at it through like a physics perspective.
Okay. So I had the option of taking physics in my senior year.
Ooh, smarty pants.
I didn't take it.
Oh.
And so I'm going to need the lesson, like the full physics lesson on this. I didn't take it.
Okay, well, I mean, you had the option.
I did, but pass. Hard pass for me on that.
Who needs physics anyway? ChatGPT can just tell us everything we need to know. Okay, so anyway, so the physics of it basically says that, technically speaking, higher vibrational frequencies like gratitude, love, joy, and compassion can be linked to measurable brainwave activities and energetic states when compared to like lower vibration energies like fear, anger, sadness.
Yeah. So does that mean, just to like break it down?
Yeah.
Higher vibration, joy, gratitude, higher brain activity. Could we say maybe I'm going to be more productive or...
I'm going to say I'm not even going to claim to interpret the science of it all.
Okay.
I'm just not the person to do that for you.
I'm going to interpret it that way.
Okay, good. I like that. That feels right. Let's go.
Okay, all right. So higher vibe, energy, higher brain frequency. What else?
Okay, so the science of emotions basically say that your energy, so positive emotions actually create serotonin in your body, right? And dopamine. And those, like when those are coursing through your body, it actually creates feelings of lightness. So as you're, in the car with your hands on the steering wheel and you feel it's that like happy vibration, right?
Adrenaline, right?
Well, not even adrenaline, no, because I would link that to cortisol. I would say just like when you have those positive emotions flowing through your body, you just feel light, right?
Okay.
But then when you do have like the negative emotions like fear and anger, that's what increases cortisol.
Oh, okay.
And that's what you actually said, that it feels heavier.
Yeah.
And that's how some of the scientists would describe it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just it can lead to feelings of, I mean, maybe not, it's not a scientific definition, but like anecdotally, that's how they would describe it. It's like feeling heavier, weighted down. So I thought one really interesting study by the Heart Math Institute explored the connection between emotional state and vibrational energy, and they found that positive emotions actually create a coherent heart rhythm. So the heartbeat is smooth, which can be linked to a high vibrational state. But negative emotions cause this incoherent heart rhythm, which signals like a stress or chaotic energy.
Yeah.
So when you're living in that like higher vibe, like synchronistic heartbeat state, you're actually improving your emotional resilience, your cognitive functioning, and your physical health.
Okay.
And then here's the last one, because I think that this is really important as we're talking about an energy cleanse.
Yeah.
So one of the concepts behind an energy cleanse is that you, like your energy, what energy you're like bringing to the table. It's obviously determining the lens through which you're seeing and experiencing the world,
right?
Your inner world, but it's also, interacting with energy that, out in the universe, right?
Yeah.
Everyone else's energy. And so quantum physics suggests that the energy that we put into the universe influences how we interact with others. It says that everything in the universe is connected through energy fields. So, in an energy cleanse, you're kind of going off of the idea that the energy that you're interacting with on a daily basis, and we'll talk through like what creates that, but that's also attracting back like what you're getting out of life. So when you're, the feeling of like, when you're just having like one of those great weeks where everything's going your way.
Yeah.
And you're almost like on a high and you feel like you're you just keep having win after win, and you're like, is this real?
Yeah.
But you're putting out a really like positive and high vibe like energy that's then attracting back the opportunities, the situation, and the people that match that vibration.
Okay.
But at the same time, like if you're in a rut,
Yeah.
where you just can't seem to like dig yourself out of this like low feeling,
Yeah.
usually it's linked to like the energy that you're living in. What are the emotions that you've been feeling, whether or not you're even like aware of them?
Yeah.
A lot of times it creates that like cyclical energy loop.
Yeah.
Science says that our brains are neuroplastic. And so when we're focused on the good all the time or the bad all the time, it will actually rewire your brain to focus on those things. And,
Right.
and if you're focused on like the negative all the time, it's not out of reach to say that you're not going to attract all of like the positive people and situations when that's like the energy that you're putting out.
Yeah. So it's like attracts like energy, right? Okay.
Okay, so now we've touched on the science. I feel better.
I feel like I got everything I needed out of my high school physics class in the last like 2 minutes. So thank you for that.
And you got to check the box.
Oh, I did.
You did
yes.
get to check
thank
that
you.
box. Research done.
That box has been unchecked since about 2001. So thank you for that.
See, we're making progress here. I love this. So the idea then of an energy cleanse is that you're basically evaluating each of like the major areas of your life, figuring out where the good energy patterns are and where the bad energy patterns are.
Okay.
And figuring out like what you can do to like elevate your own energy, going into the new year or really at any time. It's almost like creating a goals-based like vision board for the year ahead, but instead it's creating a board of how you want to feel in the new year.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to feel more of? Do you want to feel more patient? Do you want to feel more kind, emotionally available, less stressed?
Yeah.
Any of those things starts with this energy cleanse.
Okay. So what are a couple of the areas or a few of the areas that we should look at when we're considering an energy cleanse?
So, and I would be interested, I have some ideas.
Yeah.
I think that, I think that our perspectives might be similar, but I think that there are probably a lot of people who live in totally different, scenarios and situations than we do that could add completely different, ideas here. But
so it's not finite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I would say physical health, your environment, your like emotions, mindset, and thought patterns, the people you're interacting with on a daily basis.
So that could be family, friends. What about work?
Yeah. So I think work, and this is just how it's like falling in my head. I think you could organize it in your brain however you want. But I think the last one for me would be alignment with purpose and passion. And I think that career work, like that could fall into a couple of them. Yeah. Right? Because the people that you're interacting with, whether, you want to or not, I mean, you're working with a group of people that all come together, because you're working in the same place. And of course you're going to love some, and some of them just aren't going to be your people. So, but I also think then the work that you do every day is totally aligned with your purpose and your passion, or it's not. And then maybe you need an energy cleanse. I don't know.
So these are just some guidelines, right? So you said physical health, environment, people, career, the emotions that we're feeling, but fill in the blank. You can add more to this group, right?
Yeah, completely. Okay. And I would say that those are the things that more so determine the energy that we're living in every day, right? So I think that emotions are probably one of the biggest determining factors of the energy that you're bringing in, because I think that each of the other things that we just talked about can create an emotion, whether we're aware of it or not. So like if we're talking about high vibe versus low vibe emotions, I think that's a good place to start, because I think when we're moving really quickly in life, it's really easy to just push the emotions that you're feeling aside. Yeah. And that's actually really problematic. It's when you're not processing the emotions, they're getting stuck inside you somewhere, and eventually it becomes a big problem. Yeah. So I think emotional recognition and processing is, kind of at the root of a lot of this. Yeah. But I want to give you a couple of examples of emotions and where they would like sit on the spectrum of like high vibration or low vibration.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's go there.
Okay. So high vibe emotions would be like love, joy, peace, inspiration, hope. Moderate vibe emotions, so they're like a lot more neutral, would be like patience, acceptance, boredom falls into that, curiosity even is, more of a moderate vibe emotion.
I love those. Patience, acceptance, and curiosity.
Yeah, you don't always have to be living in a high vibrational state, right?
Yeah, or low vibrational state for that matter, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you can absolutely change them. I think it's just a matter of, I guess, recognizing what you're experiencing.
Yeah. So what are the low vibration ones then?
Okay, so low vibration would be like disappointment, overwhelm, worry, guilt, fear, and shame. I think shame is supposed to be like the lowest vibration.
Okay.
So, I think sometimes it just helps me to almost like visualize them on some sort of spectrum.
Yeah.
Because I think as we start to just become more aware, me especially, like of the emotions that I'm feeling and processing them, I think it just helps to have that like visual sometimes.
Yeah.
So I do have I have a tool for that. It's not really a tool. It's something I created because I like pretty things. And it's just pretty. So I'll post that with I'll figure out how to do it. But I'll share it with everyone because I think it's helpful.
Okay. And before you were giving the high, moderate, and low vibration examples, you said it's really good to sit with an emotion, name an emotion. I might call it pay attention to the emotion, because the goal of this is not to not feel any of the low vibe emotions or energy, rather. It's to recognize it and then look to those other areas that you mentioned to say, okay, either am I causing this or is somebody else causing this? Is it my environment? Recognize it and then like course correct if we need to. Because of the neuroplasticity that you mentioned earlier too, we're able to make new pathways in our brain to not always be sitting in some place that we don't want to be, right?
Yeah.
We had to sit there for a little bit, right? We called that the messy middle or what have you, but maybe not forever.
Yeah, I think it's easy to feel really stuck when you're not aware of the energy that you're living in, or when you're not taking the time to really like reflect on just how you're living and how you're feeling. I think that we do get stuck in those ruts, and I think that it's just really important to take the time to reflect on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to touch on my woo side for a little bit. For our listeners, you're not confused. Jess was talking about all the science, and now I'm going to lean into my woo. And one of the books that I love, I've not read the whole thing, I found that I have to read it in chunks, is The Untethered Soul. And the chapter that I've read twice now is all about energy. And I love what the author says in the book about you have to be open, right? Be open to energy, the high vibe, the moderate, and the low vibe, because life is not about, as I said before, feeling just the joy and the gratefulness, right? Like you have to be open to all of it. So you have to feel the shame and the guilt, no matter how uncomfortable it is, to appreciate the high vibe energy, right? So it's about feeling everything and being open to everything.
Yeah, it's like the energy moving sort of concept where you have to just feel it all, keep it moving, just like really truly experience life.
Yeah.
Because when you do get stuck in one of the sides, you really do, you get stuck. You kind of start to see the world with like blinders on, or maybe you have false expectations, but it does, you just feel stagnant.
Yeah. And I'm going to blow your mind later because I'm going to talk about chakras. And so
what?
Just like put a little pin in that, and let's go back though and talk about the different areas and how we can, for me, I love a good rating scale. Like how can I rate my energy level in my physical health and my environment? And then how do we go about, if we realize that, on a scale of 1 to 10, I might be a 2 in environment, like how do I go about getting that maybe up to an 8?
Yeah, how can we make all of those like small tweaks so that we're making the changes now so that, you know, as like a collective whole, we have better days, weeks, months, like we're living into that feeling that we really like want to feel.
Yeah, that
right?
vision that we have for ourselves.
Yeah, so I would go back to like the pillars that we sort of loosely outlined before.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think everybody will have different pillars. So if we're being kind of like generic, I guess, like at this point, sort of just like
just giving some examples.
Yeah. I would say probably the easiest to talk about would be like family, friends, environment, career, and physical health.
Okay.
So like if you think about family, for example, like what do you think some ways would be that you could really like evaluate what people might be feeling going into the holiday season or going into the, you know, new year? What are some the ways that our family impacts our energy?
Yeah. That's the easiest one. We're going to start with that one. I think as it relates to family, and there's all sorts of family, right? Mm-hmm. There's your, what do you call it? Your nuclear family. Mm-hmm. There's your extended family. And for me, you know, I have family all over, and I love the holidays because it gives us opportunity to come together, right? Mm-hmm. But that also creates challenges, right? Because for me, I have, you know, like I said, family all over. Mm-hmm. And so, okay, what are we doing for Thanksgiving? What are we doing we celebrate Christmas. What are we doing for Christmas, New Year's? And I have to go back to one of my mantras that I repeat several times a day, which is just that clear is kind, mm-hmm. right? Yeah, so when I say clear is kind, it could be simple things like logistics, right? Mm-hmm. Letting everyone know who's going to be where, what time, you know, as best as you can. Mm-hmm. But I think it goes beyond logistics too. I mean, especially coming off of a polarizing election. Mm-hmm. This time of year, you know, I feel like emotions are mm-hmm. just heightened, right?
Yep.
And we have really sometimes unrealistic expectations for this time of year. It makes me think of Christmas Vacation and, you know, one of my favorite movies. But, you know, he had really high expectations for what that celebration was to look like, mm-hmm. and it didn't end so well, right?
Right. And differing expectations too, where maybe some people are really rooted in like the tradition of the holidays, but other people, you know, like to try new things, and something
that's a really good point. Yeah,
as simple as that can definitely cause friction.
Yeah. So I don't promise to have any answers today. Yeah. All I can say is you owe it to yourself to think about those things going mm-hmm. into the holidays quietly by yourself, right? Mm-hmm. Just evaluate. You know, what are the things that are at play so that I can hold two things, right? Protect my energy, but also be open to the energy that I'm going to be stepping into. Does that make sense?
So how do you make it enjoyable, right? So because it doesn't just have to be like getting through it, right?
Absolutely.
But when you do prepare yourself and you do quietly think about the things that could maybe just like shift your energy, you can put in place some like different tactics that will help you protect yourself and just help you kind of maybe put those things into place so that you can let your guard down in other ways so that you can just have fun.
Yeah.
And I think going into even like the new year, if we're talking about, I think it's really timely with the holidays coming up. But I think that it is just important to evaluate, you know, highest level, like what are your relationships with your family like, and mm-hmm. Focusing on like not just the negative, like what are the things that are really like filling your bucket, and don't lose sight of those. Don't like gloss over those. Mm-hmm. Do more of that, right? Yeah. And so it, you know, it might be that you had a really great conversation with somebody or a really great time with somebody. I mean, anything, but just I think having the awareness to be able to name it mm-hmm. and find more opportunities to bring more of that in your life is also relevant for an energy cleanse.
Well, and I just want to go back to the expectations mm-hmm. of the holidays, right? And when you were explaining the high, moderate, and low energy mm-hmm. vibes, at moderate, you said two words that really stuck with me, and I wrote them down: patience and acceptance. And think about if we could just go into the holiday season with those two emotions, patience and acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Doesn't that just, talk about like what you want to feel. Like that just feels really good.
I know. Well, but I think also setting your expectations that, like, I want more out of my holidays than patience and acceptance.
Yeah.
Like, I want to feel joy and happiness. But I think having the awareness when you do your energy cleanse to know, like, what the sources of those things are.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to set your expectations right. Maybe your greatest source of joy for the holiday season is going to come in quietly decorating your house by yourself with a, you know, great balsam fir candle and Christmas music and white lights everywhere. Like, maybe that's the best source of joy that you can give yourself right now.
Yeah.
But you're not putting that expectation on anybody else to create the feeling for you.
That's fair. That's kind.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So, okay, I think that's good.
I feel better already.
I know. Me too. This is like,
you were putting up high or moderate energy vibes to me.
I'll take either right now.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
I love it.
All right. So family, I feel like we started with
the hardest one.
Yeah.
I know.
Let's throw me like a softball.
Gosh, I don't think any of these are soft. I think, but let's go to friends next if we're talking about people. I mean,
Okay.
I think they're similar concepts though. Like, holidays or anywhere in your life. I guess maybe it's easier to talk about some of the things that you should look for to figure out if, like, your friendships aren't filling you up, right? Like, do you look forward to spending time with the people, you know, that you're spending time with? When you leave situations with friends, do you feel like you need to just, like, sit in your own peace and quiet in your own energy? Or do you feel like you want more of that?
Yeah. I liken it to when that person's name shows up on your phone. Is that someone that no matter what you're doing, you just want to stop everything and pick it up because you know, like, this is maybe the only chance you're going to get to talk to that person?
Yeah.
And I think I shared with you, and I hope she's listening, but I reconnected with a childhood friend recently, and now when she calls, I try to, like, stop everything so I can pick it up because I know we both have full lives and that might be the only chance that we get to talk. And so that, to me, that's like a high energy vibe. That's something that I'm going to recognize and foster.
Yes. Yeah, I think I really do. I can't say this enough how important it is to focus on the high vibe stuff too, because I think when we talk about an energy cleanse, it's easier to be like, what are we getting rid of?
Yeah.
But I think it's also, it's like finding ways to reduce those stressors and the negative energy, but then how do you fill it up with all of that high vibe stuff? And so having that awareness.
Yeah.
I use Voxer all the time.
Yes, I have to use this. You've been telling me about it, and I
amazing.
just haven't used it yet. So, yeah, tell me what you're using it for.
Well, I have a couple of friends that I share messages with, and they're like mini podcasts sometimes. Like, you can leave 15-minute messages. And
that's why you're so good at this.
I've just been talking into the universe. Nobody's listening. But I love it because that sounds exhausting, like a 15-minute message. But when you do have a friend that, like, life is just so busy and, you know, you don't maybe have time to go to lunch or, you know, I can pick up my, like, phone and listen to a 15-minute message from a dear friend, and it fills me up so much. It feels like I'm sitting at, you know, breakfast or lunch or whatever with either, you know, any of them. And it's one of, like, the highs when I do have those messages waiting for me. And I try to remind myself, like, if my energy's feeling low, like, what's in my toolkit to, like, raise my vibrations, like, back up. And going to Voxer and either leaving a message or, you know, listening to a message from a friend is a really good one.
I really like that.
But I think at the same time, you do have friendships that sometimes we hold on to out of obligation or, like, history. And I think that it's really important to, like, just reflect on the friendships and think, like, are these relationships serving me anymore? Like, are the benefits still outweighing, like, the negatives? You know, I don't know, but I think that that's an area that I know I hear friends talking often about like feeling weighted sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's just worth it to really figure out our time is really precious. Our peace is really precious.
Mm-hmm.
And we really do need to sometimes make the hard decisions to protect our peace.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, with those friendships, it's not, discounting maybe the years of friendship that you had.
Mm-hmm.
I think certainly you want to be grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
It served you and that friend
Mm-hmm.
in its season.
Mm-hmm.
And now, it might be time to move on.
Yeah. Some friendships are for a season of life. And the kindest thing that we can sometimes do for ourselves is recognize that a season has ended.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I feel like they're all hard ones. Like all of the... I mean, okay, I actually really like the one I'm going to throw at you next is my favorite because it feels kind of easy-ish.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to environment next.
Okay.
It's like light, at least surface level.
Okay, environment. So this is like our home, could be our office if we go into an office, our surroundings, environment, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess I should say that's just my experience.
Sure.
And maybe, I think for both of us, we agree that environment probably is a lighter one, but there are certainly other people where environment would feel a lot heavier.
Yeah.
But yeah, any of the spaces, the physical spaces that you're interacting with on a day-to-day basis, and this could be like the cleanliness of your house. It could be your refrigerator.
How do you know about my refrigerator? Only because I've been talking about it for like a year.
And has been for...
don't even say for how long.
Yeah.
But when we talk about environment, that is part of it, right? Like, think about how many times you open your refrigerator door every day. And every day, every time I open it, I feel feelings of shame and guilt because it's not clean. Yeah. So I either need to put my favorite podcast in or music or whatever and just knock it out. Because going into the holiday season, we host a lot and I want that to be a positive experience. I want that to raise my energy and not lower it every time I open the refrigerator door. Okay, so now that I've aired out my dirty laundry.
Or dirty refrigerator. I don't know.
Tell me, Jess.
Yeah.
What about your environment?
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, and I think that's to say, like, the weight that the small things in our environment carry can be really heavy. And so I have a couple of really just silly environment things that just drive me bonkers. But it's not to say that there aren't bigger problems. It's just, I think it's important to recognize that the really big environment issues, the things that you're interacting with in a day-to-day basis, in your house, in your neighborhood, in your community, can have a really big impact on your life, but the little things can too. And so it's not to trivialize the little things, but they do carry so much weight. I will say that one of the things, there's two things in my house that drive me crazy.
Okay.
One is our junk drawer. We actually have 3.
Junk drawers.
Yes, I know. But we also have a 3-year-old, and so we, I will clean them and organize them, and it's pointless because it's her favorite place to just dig through all of the stuff. So now we have pens tucked in with the wine glasses and flashlights, who knows where. And so that's one of the things that I've just given up on. I have come into acceptance that we will have clean junk drawers when the 3-year-old turns 4, 5, or 6. I'm not sure yet.
So for now, you're just taking that off.
Yes, I am.
Okay,
yep,
good.
Junk drawer is fine.
Okay.
I'm proud of it.
Okay.
Okay, here's another just little one in the environment, but I cannot tell you how much it has made me feel better.
Okay.
It's so silly, but so, oh my gosh, I wake up every morning and I feel so much better. Our closet. My husband I really love that he likes a tidy house as well. I really like the house to be organized because it helps my brain think better.
Yeah.
I have ADHD, and the organization in my physical space really helps me organize my brain.
Yeah.
And so our closet was always fine. It's not a huge closet. It was fine. A little messy. And so he would make comments about, I'll clean that. I'm going to clean that eventually. I'm like, it's fine to me. And so the one day I came home and he has his side of the closet totally organized with matching hangers. He's cleaned a bunch of his old stuff out, and it's just soothing to look at almost. So then of course he travels, and I had to do the same, right? I cleaned out my closet and I found some extra organizing things, and I definitely Roy G. Biv'd my all of my clothes. But it just like it makes me feel so much better walking in the morning, knowing that like it is clean, it's tidy, everything has a place, and I don't have to. I think it's the frustration I feel when I'm looking for something that I don't know where it is. It just, it starts my day off on like the complete wrong foot.
Yeah.
And so even though it's something that's so like, it feels so trivial, it really does have a really big impact on how my day goes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think like, first of all, how many people can say, I love walking into my closet? Yeah. Right?
Something I never thought I would say, but yeah.
Yeah, and then it sounds like to me, instead of, feeling these low energy vibes first thing in the morning, you're starting your day out with good high energy vibes, right?
Or at least neutral, or like at least that moderate, right?
Yeah. And then the third thing I would say is decision fatigue is a real thing, right? And if you start the day walking into your closet and having to make 3 or 4 separate decisions on just what you're going to put on your body for the day. Like you're already depleting your brain's ability or capacity to make decisions. Yeah. So kudos to you.
I think it just goes to say that like when you are really focused on an energy cleanse or whatever it is that's like raising your vibration, I don't think anything can be too small of a detail to overlook.
Sure.
Because the ease that something creates in your body can really like, it can just have a big impact on your day. But I think environment can be a lot of things. Like, are you interacting with a neighbor every day who's really like bringing your energy down, right?
Yeah.
Or especially like coming out of the political season that we had, if you're a strong political supporter of one party and your neighbor is, has something else going on, but they're very like vocal about it, right? Like it's something that you're interacting with every day, and if you're not honoring, like if you're not really looking inward to be like, how is that like bothering me, and what can I do, even if it's just a matter of saying to yourself like, I know this is going to bother me, but whatever, it's going to be over soon.
Yeah.
Maybe. But I think that it can just be a matter of naming it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a good segue. Let's talk about one more. So you mentioned career and finding alignment.
Yes.
And sometimes also, in your career, there are people maybe that you'd like to avoid, but you can't, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to talk about that and how, because I'm sure like someone could be listening and say, well, there are certain people in my life, career, family, friends that I just like, I can't avoid. And I just want to be clear, like, we're not saying you should avoid those people.
Right.
But perhaps, what are some tips for managing those relationships?
Yeah.
So for me, I'll just give one example. If I worked with someone that was challenging for me, I almost would have to give myself a pep talk, right? Like if I'm going to interact with that person in a meeting, come into a meeting, and maybe I didn't have the language at the time, but maybe I'm starting at that like moderate energy level, right? Where I'm coming into a space of patience and acceptance. And that's how I'm going to enter the meeting. And keep reminding myself of that as I'm engaging in this interaction, right? And then I think it's so important that once that interaction is over, that we have some type of separation. Because let's say you went in with all the patience in the world and all the acceptance in the world, and it still just like irked you. And you don't want to carry that around, right? Because I am a master ruminator. And so I need separation. I need to say to myself, okay, let's do a recap on this. What happened? What went well? What, could I have done differently? And then almost like write it down if you have to, or just like set it to the side and then move forward with your day.
Yeah, I think all of those things are really important. I think that sometimes it's hard how much energy it does take to protect your energy, but the more that you can do that, and I think that you can recognize just the role that you play in it, how you can protect yourself, how you can separate the energy when you're done, it's just going to protect you more and set you up for a better day, but honestly a better month, better year, because all of that stuck energy is cumulative and it leads to like, some hard outcomes on your body and on your
Sure.
mind. And so,
Yeah.
having like even like small rituals.
Oh, yeah.
I think that if you're going into it, some things that you can do to protect your energy, having the pep talk, I think, is really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could even like boil that down to like a mantra or an affirmation, and like something like, I am patient, or I am whatever it is that you want to fill in the blanks with, or, I will not let George in accounting trigger me, or, something like that. Like just having reminders for yourself sometimes I think can help us like maintain those like more neutral energetic states.
Even just, and I think you were telling me about this, doing something physical when you're in the meeting, since that's what we're talking about right now. I can't remember exactly what the mantra was, but just taking your thumb to each of your other four fingers, right? And reciting something like what you said, I am patient. Or I am accepting. And just like doing it under the table to just calm yourself down, right?
I
love that.
You could also like physically create like not physically, mentally create like some sort of shield or barrier for yourself. Like whatever it is, it's going to create like you want that feeling of like almost like release when you think about it. Like you're like, oh, like when you think about what you want to do, whether you're like visualizing a shield, whatever it is. When you think about it, like it should give you that like feeling of calm or protection going into it, right? Like it's not going to help if it's not actually like resonating in your body somewhere. You really have to take the time to like feel how it feels in your body to know if it's going to help you. But so when you're in the space, whether it's a mantra you're repeating, whether it's something that you're physically or mentally doing with your hands, with your mind to like shield your energy from like absorbing that person's energy. And then when you leave, finding some sort of routine or something that creates a separation of energy. So sometimes aromatherapy can help. Like if you have like a strong, peppermint smell or something that you can smell when you get back to your desk or something. And then just repeat, like, I don't have to carry that. Or, something to reassure yourself, because sometimes it's just that your body really needs to like hear that that's over. I don't have to carry that energy. I can release that. It's not mine to take with me.
Yeah. So you said one thing that made me think of two things actually. And the first thing was you said like make it your own. So we're giving examples of things that have helped us or things that we are going to try in the future, right? But you have to make sure that it's going to work for you. And the other thing that made me think of then is to not wait until you're walking into this meeting to try it. Because if you do that, then you're trying it in the meeting. But to give yourself some time to do this, well in advance of the meeting, right? To practice it, to be intentional about it, to be proactive, so that you can really find one, a thing that works for you, and two, you can feel that feeling so you know it's working for you.
Yeah. It's like what they say about affirmations. Like you can read an affirmation, but until you put it in your words,
exactly,
your body's not actually going to believe that what you're saying is true.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, I could talk about this all day with you.
I know, me too.
But let's summarize and let's maybe give some advice, some tips on really like how to raise your energy, how to recognize, are you feeling high vibe, moderate vibe, low vibe? What like final takeaways can we give?
Sure. So, okay, I think that, in summary, I think one of the things that you could really do is look for some signs that the energy is off somewhere in your life. So you're feeling uninspired or stuck. It could be that you're tired all the time. You are feeling sick all the time. You're just feeling a lot of like inner dissonance when you're thinking about certain relationships or anything like that. And then I think from there, going through whatever your pillars are, whatever your most important areas of your life are. We talked about family, friends, environment, career, and we could also add like physical health, alignment with your purpose, anything like that. Like really think through what are the areas that are filling you up. What are the negative things that are draining your energy, that you're giving your power away to. Where are you feeling stuck? What are you holding on to? What do you need to release? And take some time to reflect and maybe journal on each of those areas. And then I think you could come up with a couple of ways that you can, things that you can do to just interact with better energy.
Yeah.
What would you say, like, what are some of the things that you do to raise your energy?
Yeah. Earlier I mentioned chakras. So I'm going to go there now.
Do it. I can't wait.
Jess, has introduced me to lots of great ideas and topics, and one of them was chakras. And so without going like beyond my pay grade here, I'll just say that, I picked up this book, The 7 Healing Chakras, and again, kind of like The Untethered Soul, have been reading like pieces of it. And so I'm reading this book, and then I think I've shared before, I'm not a meditation person, but when I'm stretching after a workout, I'll oftentimes put on a meditation. And that helps me, set my intentions for the day. So when you know it, I'm reading this book off and on chakras, and then I pick this meditation on my Peloton app, and it's Chelsea Jackson Roberts, who I love, and she's going through a meditation, a breathing exercise on your chakras. And so I bookmarked that because it was so good. And I've taken
a whisper from the universe.
It is, like 2 or 3 times. But so one, again, simple, not earth-shattering thing, but it's a 15-minute meditation, and it's all about breathing, starting, really in your gut, and then breathing, into your throat, and then back down. And then eventually you get like all the way to your crown and back down. And just, I don't know, breath feels like energy moving through your body, right? And so that's, like I said, one that I'm bookmarking. And when I need a reset, or I'm feeling like my energy is blocked or stuck, I'm going to take that meditation because I know it'll help me open up my energy again and hopefully welcome in some higher vibrations.
I love that. I think we could do a whole episode maybe in a future season on chakras, because there's so much that you can learn, about stuck energy and, the different areas of your life that you can heal based on which chakra is probably stuck.
Okay.
And really the goal is that you want alignment between your chakras to keep the energy moving, which plays in really well to this conversation.
Yeah, I love that.
So some of the things that I would do, I think emotional journaling is probably one of the most important tools if you are not totally in touch with like the feeling of how each of these emotions like feel in your body, starting there, because I think it's really easy for us to just glaze over like what the emotions are that we've been feeling that day, good or bad.
Yeah.
We're not reveling in the good emotions, and we're not processing the bad emotions, I think, as often as we should be.
Yeah.
And so starting even just like, maybe at lunchtime, or like habit stacking while you're making your second cup of coffee, or before bed. What are the emotions that you felt that day, and like why did you feel them? And when you just start to be reflective of what those various emotions are, you might really become aware of patterns that you weren't previously aware of. So I think that that's a really, really important place to start.
Okay.
Setting intentions and holding those intentions. So, I'm going to, set some boundaries with a friend, or I'm going to make my space cleaner, or even that I'm just going to accept that my junk drawer is a disaster. And I think that when you set intentions, you can reinforce those through affirmations. Certain like gemstones and crystals are said to hold different properties. And even if you don't, even if that's like a little too woo for you, you can still hold an intention with a certain type of stone. And so, if one of them is like acceptance, it's basically just subtle reminders. We're moving so quickly, know, that you need whatever it is that's going to create that cue for you, that's going to remind you that you need to like live in acceptance or live in patience or whatever it is. So I think other things that you can do, declutter and organize your spaces, a technology detox. I think we could do a whole episode on that.
Yeah.
But, I think that's great. Moving your body. I love going for a walk in nature, and maybe I have music on, maybe I don't, but I think it's being aware of just the things happening around you is really important. And I think it creates space that helps you prepare for maybe handling some of the negative energy, or feeling strength in your decisions to like, up level your energy and the things that you have to do that.
Yeah. Those are great.
Yeah, and I'll say one more thing. I think a lot of this comes down to, emotional processing and healing. I love sensory healing. And so I always turn to multisensory like healing modalities. So, and I think a lot of this actually ties into chakras, but I think you're basically just really feeling into your body and what feels good and right, and what's going to give you the strength and space that you need to identify these areas and make sometimes hard decisions, or sometimes just like remembering yourself. I forget a lot of things. So like just making sure that you're taking the time with yourself to know what your intentions are and what you really want to feel.
Yeah. So real quick, Jess, though, you just dropped like sensory modalities, I think is what you said.
Oh, yeah.
Can you just like Reader's Digest that for me and tell me what that means?
Yeah, I think it's really just finding things that heal you on each of the like senses. So it could be sensory deprivation, or it could be music. So if I was thinking about the chakras, because there's different like hertz that are correlated to each of the chakras. So when you're working on healing, say like your sacral chakra, there's a certain vibration that you're actually supposed to listen to promote healing.
Okay.
There's different aromatherapies that are said to help you with feelings of, say I want to feel less fear or guilt or shame or anything like that. There's, different aromatherapies that are linked to those things.
Yeah.
Crystals.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I will say, and you probably got it for me. I do, when I'm doing my meditations in the morning, I can tell a difference if I, put some aromatherapy like oils on my wrists. I can tell a difference between when I do it and when I don't do it.
Interesting.
I don't know if it just like puts me, like the smell, right? Just like the scent, just like puts me in the right frame of mind, I guess, to be open. So
yeah, but you have that awareness, right?
Yeah.
That you know that it's the aromatherapy that's going to give you that space.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a good trigger.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And that's something, we really want to make sure we're focused on the good too. Okay. I want to leave you guys, I think, with a suggestion.
Okay.
So I think that I've talked a couple of times about the feeling that you want to feel, and whether that's the feeling you want to feel during the holidays, or it's the feeling that you want to feel for the new year.
Yeah.
I think that I would challenge you, myself as well, and anyone who might be listening, to write down a word, a feeling. It could be more than one that you want to feel on a note card. And on the back, if you want, you could write down 3 things that you know that you can do in your life, changes that you know you can make to achieve that feeling or to maintain that feeling, and just put it on your desk or your dresser as a gentle reminder that like it's not about the actions that you have to take, it's about the feeling that you want to feel that's going to help you show up better for yourself and everyone else in your life. So it's sort of just like that like North Star guiding you back to like, this is the why, we cleanse our energy.
I love that.
So I feel like I feel a little bit sentimental here.
Yeah.
Our season and our year are coming to an end.
I know. Well, and we said this at the beginning, but it is worth repeating. We're just so thankful for everyone who has taken some time to listen and welcome us into their space to share some of the topics that, we just enjoy sharing with each other. And I would be remiss if I didn't say or ask if you could leave us a review or a rating. We just want to be able to share this with as many people as possible and continue to learn and grow ourselves through this journey of podcasting.
Yes. So thank you all for being here. And we're so excited to connect again in the new year. And we wish you all very moderate to high vibration holiday season.
Perfect. I love it.
All right. See you in 2025.
Bye.